This is Alexandra, and she's on track to make $200,000 in her first full year as a realtor without cold calling or prospecting. Most realtors struggle to generate consistent deals and are constantly on the prospecting hamster wheel, posting open houses, sending mailers, knocking on doors, all that fun stuff. That was Alexandra 90 days ago. Fast forward to today, she has a system that allows her to generate new, consistent deals on Autopilot. So today I sat down with her so we can show you exactly how it works and how you can implement this system and this strategy for yourself as well. Hey, Alexandra, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I've got a couple things I want to go over today, and we'll also go over your call as well, the ones that we can review some of the ones that came in and see if there's any way we can maybe improve, any adjustments that we can, make to what we're saying, and see if there's any other value propositions we can use to, kind of help ensure that these people are getting connected with and we're meeting with them in person. But to start, I do want to fill you in. I don't know, have you seen any like weird kind of differences in the CRM lately?
But yeah, a little bit, I think. I know
Okay.
you guys mentioned changing some stuff.
Yeah, we're moving a few things around, making some adjustments and some updates in there. So to start, we in the pipelines in the opportunities section, we got rid of a couple of them and we merged the buyer and seller ones just because it was kind of confusing before. We had some agents that were working like dual representation deals there, so they're a seller and a buyer, and it's like, well, which pipeline do we put that one in? So now we just have the ISA's pipeline, and then we also have the deal pipeline from when they're actually transferred over to you. So I've got your account pulled up here, and we'll just go ahead and start working through these one by one. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. The last one that came in was Wilma, right?
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and pull her up. So how was your conversation with her?
I was driving home. Her daughter was speaking to me because I guess she was driving as well, or I don't know if what she was doing. And yeah, I think it was pretty brief. I had mentioned to them, the holidays are coming up, so I'd be happy to I would, I guess, recommend getting together prior to the holidays so that way we can be prepared once the holidays pass to start looking at different options. And then I asked them because they said that they would be willing to move by February. I was like, oh, so I'm assuming you guys have a lease and it ends in February. And she goes, well, it actually ends in March, but we're open to moving by February if needed.
Okay. And she's pre-approved up to 600, right?
I know she was pre-approved. I didn't get to ask that just because it was her daughter speaking to me and not her directly. But I
Okay.
was planning on getting further into that at the consultation.
So you
They
set
said, huh?
and then you set the appointment on the call, right?
On the call, I was like, yeah, so what I'd like to do with all of my clients is sit down with them in person to have a proper consultation. That way I can see exactly how I can help you, whatever. And then I asked them, where do you guys live by? So that I can go as close to you as possible. So, it's convenient. They're like in Midtown. So I was like, okay, so I'll send over a text with the location. Tomorrow, at what time would you guys be available? And then I heard her mom say in the background, they were kind of arguing a little bit, but her mom said in the background, anytime after 10. Okay, so let's shoot for 12. Does that work? And they're like, yeah, perfect. I'm like, okay, hope you guys have a nice day.
So we didn't get any confirmation. I mean, I would book it in on a calendar right there. Like that's how you're gonna make sure that it actually. So wait, did you get no-showed or?
So I had sent her a text that day, a couple hours after, saying, let's meet at this coffee shop at this time. I look forward to seeing you. No answer. So the next morning, first thing in the morning, I gave her a call. No answer. I sent her a couple text messages and no answer. And I gave her another call too. I called her twice that day, in the first half of the day.
Okay. Did you call off your cell or did you call in the CRM?
Both. I called once in the CRM and I think one or two times. I'm not sure if it was like one and one or one and two times on myself.
Okay. So when you're on that call, this is what I want you to do. I want you to get a calendar invitation on their calendar, on both of your calendars. What's the best email for you? Okay, cool. Let me write that down. I'm going to book this in on the calendar. I'm going to update the location on there as soon as I'm going to update the location on there shortly. I'll just pick a coffee shop nearby or you can even ask them, "Hey, do you have any recommendations? You probably know the area a little better than I do." Right? That way we can, you can build a little bit more rapport with them. that's the biggest thing too, is like make sure you have some small talk with them, have a little bit of conversation, like what has you looking to move, like what are you trying to do here? Oh, I hear your mom in the background. Am I on speaker? Nice to meet you. Talk, get the conversation going a little bit more with the two of them.
Got
Because the more time they spend on the phone with you, the more time they spend talking to you, the more they're going to grow to like you. And then, then it's not going to feel like it's like they're not going to want to inconvenience you by like not getting back to you or something. So honestly, what I would do is I would continue calling and I would send a text message and say, "Hey, I was at the coffee shop waiting for you. You never showed. What happened?" Like almost like call them out on it, right?
it.
And then like I always one thing I always do if and I have my entire team do this when we're interviewing with realtors, if we get no show, if we book an appointment with somebody and we set the appointment, we get it on the calendar, we send them confirmations. If they don't respond to that stuff and then we hop on the Zoom call or whatever, or we try to call them and they don't pick up, I will grab my iPhone and I will FaceTime them twice in a row. I will literally pull out my phone and I'll FaceTime them, and that does the trick almost every single time. They're like, "What the hell is this? Why is this random number FaceTiming me?" And then I'll be like, "Hey, I'm just a little confused. I'm sitting in the Zoom room here. I don't know if you forgot or if something came up, but obviously you're available. Do you want to go ahead and hop on?" And then or I'll reschedule it, figure out what's going on there. But don't be afraid to like really like demand that confirmation, right? Because it's like, okay, cool, we're gonna meet at this coffee shop. That's kind of the plan here, but I'm not gonna drive all the way over there if I'm not sure that you're gonna be like meeting there, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. And then also like make sure we're getting it on their calendar as well. Like, cool, so just go ahead and and set a reminder for yourself on your phone. I'll give you a second to do that really quick and then just pause.
Yeah, that's better. That makes sense. That's a good game plan.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you'll get the hang of it. Obviously, like you're definitely getting better. There's a ton of improvement, I can tell. You booked that other guy in person. You were able to meet with him too, which is great. That's awesome. I think we've just got to get a little bit more strategic and a little bit more demanding when we actually, book it in, and it's not just like a cool, I'll talk to you then, and then hope that it like happens. We want to make sure that we're getting like the details sorted out.
Got it.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's better for sure.
And yeah, I can have the ISAs like propose, and they do already. For the most part, they do. They'll always say, like, "Hey, cool, I'm gonna get you connected, with Alexandra. I figured you two can set up a time to kind of chat, get together, meet, go over the details and everything." We'll float the idea across every time, and they're always okay with it. Like, no one's ever gonna be like, "Oh no, I'm not down to set an appointment." The hard part is making sure that they feel like they are going to get enough value out of it in order to show up, right? So even on that call, it's like, great, cool, I'm going to take a couple hours tonight, look over some properties in the area, get a search set up for you. What kind of specifics do you want me to look out for, as far as the aesthetics go of the home? What do you like in the home, right? And get more specific that way. Don't just go off of like the short introduction that the ISA gave to you. Like try to really learn about what they're looking for, and the more you show them that you're like really like trying to figure out what they specifically want beyond just bedrooms and bathrooms and the part of town, is going to show that you like know what you're talking about.
Got it.
You have a lot more authority that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and let's review some of the other ones here. So I'm going to move Wilma over to you for appointment booked, but we won't move her to appointment held. But yeah, follow up with her like crazy. I recommend the double FaceTime. It's a good trick. It works really, really well. There's not an address, like they don't have a property that they're selling, do they?
No, they're renting.
Okay.
So far, I think it's been two that have confirmed that they're gonna sell or that they might sell or thinking about it.
Okay.
And then I had looked up a few other ones. I know John Cristancho. I assume that guy is like extremely busy because I think he works back and forth from Miami to New York.
Okay.
That's the idea I got from him. So when I looked up, via property search, he has a house like in Hialeah, I think, or something, a townhouse. So I'm assuming he would want to sell that to buy something closer for his kids.
Okay. What have you sent him?
I've sent him a few text messages. I think I called him last week. I'm not sure if I logged it. And I also sent him, like, I made a Christmas card for all of my prospects. So I had sent to him that earlier this week.
Okay.
Him and his family. Like I sent him a message with that.
Yeah, I don't know if you made any calls in on like your cell. The last call in the CRM was on November 20th.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I may have called him earlier in the month, but I definitely have to make my call again. I'm
Yeah,
just a little bit nervous about, which I know we already spoke about this. I just have to kind of get over it, which I'm gonna call everyone this weekend. Um, since the holidays are closed, I don't want to be too spammy, so I'm trying to just kind of indirectly, keep top of mind and stuff via emails or whatever, or text messages here and there.
yeah. So don't be spammy with it. Like this, I had this conversation with another one of our agents this morning. You don't want to call with no reason, right?
Yeah,
You always need to have a
yeah,
reason for your call. So think ahead, like plan ahead, like what can I call this person? Based on the notes that I have from the ISA and what I know about this person, what can I call, what specifically that has to do with them can I call about? Or external factors. It's Christmas is right around the corner. Give them a call. Hey, John, just wishing you a Merry Christmas. Hope you're having a nice holiday with your family. Just wanted to check in with you. How are you?
yeah,
You know, you don't even bring up real estate. And if he's like, what, huh? What are you talking about? Who are you? Oh, well, I was, helping you, look for some properties. I've been over here, you know,
yeah,
doing my research and everything. I know you're looking in the Miami area. No, we don't need to have the conversation right now, but I'm just checking in to wish you happy holidays. Right. And it's like you stay top of mind that way. You remind him about you. You remind him that you're over here working for him, that you're looking for properties for him. And you literally are telling him, like, yeah, we don't have to talk about real estate. Just, checking in. Hope you're having a nice holiday with your family and everything. And he's like, oh, that's really nice of you. Cool. Well, actually, I was looking for this. And then he starts to open up a little bit more naturally as soon as he remembers and realizes, like, oh, yeah, this is the realtor,
for
right?
sure.
Like, you can let them bring it up.
Yeah, yeah, I like that strategy. Kind of just let it flow.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. What about Germania? How's it going with her?
I've called her a couple times. Well, I'm gonna call her again this weekend. I just didn't want to bombard her too much since she was adamant about starting the in January. But I do think it's important to prime for that conversation. So I'll reach out to her this weekend.
Do you time block?
No,
Okay. Let's do this. I want you to pull up your calendar. I want you to pull up your calendar. Do you use Google Calendar or something else or for the most part
for the most part.
on Google?
Yeah,
Okay. Let's pick a time every single day, Monday through Friday, and block off a 30-minute period just for follow up. Let's have this on your calendar. Let's go. If you spoke to someone 2 days ago, you may not need to give them a call again, but let's set 30 minutes aside to go through every single person that we have in here, every single day just to check on them, update the notes, or, update your task. When is your plan to call them next? Like that kind of thing, because we've only got 8 in here. It's not a ton of people to follow up with. That's really a really, really easy amount of people to check in with.
mhm,
Obviously, as time goes on and we start to fill up the pipeline more and more and more, this is going to be a lot. You're going to start blocking more time than that to stay on top of them. But you're not even going to use the full 30 minutes. But have that blocked off, and that's all you're thinking about for 30 minutes. If you're
yeah,
not calling someone, you're taking notes, or you're planning what you are going to call them about the next time that you call them, and set a task for yourself 3 days out, or set a task for yourself a week out. But we want to make sure we're logging all of this stuff on the CRM, because if I can't see the frequency of the follow up, if I can't see like the messages and stuff that you're sending, if you're just doing it on your cell phone, then it's a lot harder for me to kind of help you with that.
yeah. You're right.
So let's definitely start doing that. Make sure we block that time off on the calendar. Call it pipeline follow up or live transfer follow up or something, and we'll start going through these every single day, because we really don't want to let them slip through the cracks. The last thing I ever want to see happen to you is like, a couple months go by and you lose contact with these people and they slip through, and then we reach out to them again in 2 months and we finally get a hold of them again and they're like, oh, I'm working with an agent now.
Yeah. What time would you recommend?
I would recommend, honestly, it might be worth blocking off 2 times a day, because you don't want to be just like super consistent with, I mean, you want to be consistent in how often you're following up, But if someone doesn't answer every single day at 8:30 a.m., well, let's try 1 p.m. And if they're not answering every single day at 1 p.m., well, maybe we should try like 5 p.m. Like we don't know these people's work schedules. And that's another thing too, that you can on the first call, when you get that transfer, like, hey, what does your work schedule look like? Instead of just saying, hey, let's set up a time to chat, it's just kind of random. You come out of the blue with it. Hey, what does your work schedule look like? And then you find out they don't know what you're talking about, so they answer your question, and like they can't lie to you there. They know exactly what their schedule is. And then when you say, cool, then let's set aside a time, I want to make sure it's after work, so you're not, swamped or anything. We'll give it 30 minutes after, and we'll set something up for 6 p.m. on this day. And then you can kind of assume it's going to be a lot more likely to show up. And then we want to make sure that they know exactly what the call is for, what the appointment is for, right? What are all the value points that we're going to cover together?
And you recommend doing this every day?
I recommend looking through your pipeline and analyzing your pipeline every single day. You may not need to like if you spoke to Wilma yesterday and you guys discussed the next time to have a conversation what would be, tomorrow, you probably don't need to call her today. There's no reason to. But anyone who's not answering, yes, anyone who's not answering every single day, twice a day, there's no such thing as too much follow-up. If they're answering their calls, if they're answering your calls every time and it's the same conversation every time, just like, hey, just checking in, that can be considered too much. But if they aren't answering your calls, never slow down. Just do more and more and more. Try mornings, evenings, whatever, weekends, whatever you got to do to get connected with them. Because there's no downside to it. Because we can guarantee if we don't get connected with them, well, we can guarantee that we're not going to win their business over.
Got it.
But if we do get connected with them and they're like, why do you keep calling me? Well, at least we know that they're alive,
Yeah.
So
Okay, adding it to my calendar.
Perfect. Yeah. Like, and if you need to, block off another 30 minutes in the evening, maybe 5 or 6 p.m. or something, just to check in and try calling people who didn't answer in the morning again.
Okay.
All right. Fill me in on the rest of these. What about Reese Bailey?
Reese Bailey, I'll be honest, I haven't reached out to him again.
He was the one that was thinking about going to their old agent, right?
I'll reach out to him just because time has passed, just to kind of check in and see how that's going.
Yeah. So that's what I mean though. Like we really don't want to give it that much time.
Yeah.
Our last check-in call was 2 weeks ago. And when we went over, when you had told me that he was thinking about possibly going with another agent, I added a note to your system to update it. That was November 15th. So it's already been well over a month at this point. Like this is where it starts to get risky and we start to like risk losing people because he may not even remember at this point, right? If we reach back out to him and you're like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, who are you? Like he should know who you are, right? It should be a very conscious choice and decision that he's choosing to go with another agent over you. And that's fine. You can't force anyone to work with you, but it shouldn't be because he forgot about you.
All right, I was just fixing my calendar. But yeah, you're right, completely.
I'm gonna set another task for you here to follow up with him this evening. Okay. What about Judith?
If I'm honest, I really didn't like how she spoke to me. She kind of didn't want to give me the time of day. Like, oh, because all the ones you sent me had HOAs, and I know that, what I want is impossible, and you're not going to be able to help me.
Right. This was the person.
So I was like, what do you mean? What I sent you didn't have HOAs.
I mean, if you don't want to work with her, like, that's fine. That's completely your choice at the end of the day. But is it worth following back up with her if it means potentially getting her business?
Yeah, I'll definitely follow up. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Like she could have been in a bad mood. There's a lot of different reasons, It's good to check in. Like there is in real estate, when I first started making calls, I hated it. I didn't like doing follow-up. It was like it just sucked. I didn't enjoy it at all, and I felt like I was being super annoying to these people. And eventually, once you realize like their conversations with you are one of the least important things in their life, Like they're not thinking about it nearly as much as we are. They're not thinking about it at all. And we're over here, having a conversation about all 8 of these people on a Zoom call and they have no idea, right? So it's
Mhm.
like there is no like you kind of just become numb to it at a certain point. You get to the point where you're like someone cusses you out on the phone or they're yelling at you or they're stop calling me, why do you keep calling me every single week? You're like, oh well, I'm literally just, this is what I do, this is my work, this is like, I'm a real estate agent, I'm just trying to help you out. Sorry if I was
Yeah.
bothering you. Is there a better time to chat? Right? Like you just get to the point where it's like you completely detach your like emotional side of it and you're just doing the work. You're just doing the follow up. It doesn't matter what they say, but you're just making the calls because it's on the to-do list.
Yeah.
How about Alicia?
Alicia, I sent her a text. I'm gonna call her with her. I felt kind of bad for her because I think she's going through a hard time right now with the whole divorce situation. And it seemed like she was like, listen, like I'm going through a lot. I have your number saved. When I'm ready and done with all this, we can talk. So I will check in on her. But yeah, it just seemed like that she kind of exploded on me the last time I spoke to her, so I didn't want to be insensitive
Yeah.
to
And
what she's going through.
this is what I would say is she has no idea right now that you feel a sense of compassion for her, that you understand that that's why you're not texting. The reason you're not texting is because she's going through a hard time and you don't want to be intrusive, but she doesn't know that that's what you're thinking. She doesn't
Hmm.
think you're thinking about her at all. So we need to make her aware of the fact that you are thinking about her. It's a good thing. You're not being intrusive. You're showing her that you care. So if you shoot her a text and you're like, hey, Alicia, I hope you're doing well. I know you're kind of going through a tough spot right now. I was thinking about you earlier today. Let me know if you need anything. You don't even bring up the word real estate, right? You're just making friends with these people. That's really like that's the biggest thing that I've seen in my career thus far watching other really high performance realtors operate is they just become good friends with every single person that comes their way and then the real estate follows.
Yeah,
So if you can do that, if you can, prioritize making a good, genuine connection with every single person that you speak with, the deals will come. Their timeline will fall in place. And then when they are ready, they'll come to you as long as they like you, as long as they know you, as long as they feel like it's not totally weird for them to like reach out to you.
yeah, you're right.
So let's definitely be a little bit more vigilant about the follow up here. There's not too many people to follow up with. 30 minutes a day, an hour a day of just looking over these, staying on top of them. Like this is what is going to fill your pipeline up for 2025. And I really want to see you have a great year.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, do you have any other questions or anything for me?
No, I think this was really helpful. Like I thrive off of structure, so I'm glad you gave me like, even though it's so silly, the okay, 8 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m., put it on your calendar. Like,
Yeah. And use the tasks too in here. Okay, this is what I want you to do. You may not, because it may not make sense to call them every single time if you just had a conversation
yeah,
with
of
them.
course.
Update your task with them every single time. Like I want us to be able to hop on here, go through every single person, and you don't have any overdue tasks, but you have a task coming up on every single person. We need to be able to say, okay, what's going on with John? I'm scheduled to call him back on this date at this time, right? And that will start to fall into your structure. That structure is going to start to it's going to start to build up more and more and more and more. And the more people we're talking to, the more live transfers you're getting, we're going to start filling up your pipeline. And I guarantee you, we do this for 2, 3, 4 more months. We're going to be hopping on these calls and you're going to be like, I'm too busy. I've got too many people. I've got too many people that I'm working with right now. It's out of
Yeah.
control. I feel like I
Mhm.
can't keep up with my tasks anymore. Like that's going to be the number one thing that's going to help you.
Yeah.
Routine, vigilant follow up. So use the tasks, use that time you blocked off on your calendar to go through every single person one at a time and make sure that you have a scheduled date and time for when you're supposed to call them next.
Yeah. Would you recommend? So let's say there's one of these people that I call. If I call them with my cell phone at 8 a.m. and then call them with the CRM number at 1 p.m., or should I call them with my number and the CRM number at 8, call them again with my number and the CRM number at 1? You know what I'm saying? Or should I take turns with each time?
Don't overthink it, I would say. but every single time, like call them with the CRM number. And if they don't answer, call them with your phone. And if they don't answer, call them again with your CRM number at 1. And if they don't answer, FaceTime them with your phone. And if they don't answer, then call them again in the evening and leave them voicemails. Hey, I tried to call you twice today. I'm not sure. I'm sure you're busy or you've got a lot going on. Just wanted to check in about XYZ.
Yeah.
And you can text too, right? And now there's even that feature too. I do this sometimes. Anytime I do the double FaceTime technique, which most of the time it works. If they don't answer my first FaceTime call, I'll do it again, and they usually answer the second one. But if they don't answer the second one, there's now that setting where you can like send like a video voice message, and I'll do that. I'll just be like, hey, it's Asa. Hope you're doing well. I'm sitting in the Zoom room here waiting for our appointment. I don't know if something came up, but I wanted to go over this with you. Shoot me a text back or give me a call when you have a second.
Got it. Okay, that
Cool.
makes sense. I don't know about that FaceTime, but I'll think about it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. If it means getting their business, if it means getting connected with them, it is absolutely worth it. Worst case, they're like, well, this is so weird. Why are you FaceTiming me? I don't know you. It's like, all right, cool. Well, at least I know that. At least I know you're alive. At least I know that your phone number works and I'm not wasting my time calling you, right? It's worth it. The follow-up is worth it. It really, really is. That's how you build consistency. That's how all of this stuff works out in the long run. So definitely worth doing. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention too is this meeting is recorded. I have my like note taker in here. If you want me to share that with you as well, and you want to watch this back in case, and I don't know if you were taking notes or anything.
Oh yeah, I was. I've been taking notes.
Cool. Yeah, if you want me to send that over to you, happy to do that as well.
That's great. That'd be great.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, do you have any other questions for me? I've got another call that I'm supposed to hop on here.
Yeah, no worries. I think we're all good.
Okay.
For now.
Cool. Well, let's do it. Let's pick up that follow-up. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas with your family.
Yes, happy holidays.
Yeah, all of that fun stuff. And our next call will likely be after the new year. So see you in 2025.
Yep. See you then.
All right. Take care, Alexandra. Bye.
Bye.